to join us this evening. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The gentleman from Culpeper, Mr. Freitas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of personal privilege.
The gentleman has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I'd like to tell you all a little bit about a fellow, I guess I shouldn't say veteran because he's still on active duty, but his name is Sergeant First Class Charles Martland. And Sergeant First Class Martland is an active duty soldier right now that I think needs the help of pretty much all Americans, but especially the people in this body that have some influence with respect to the process by which he is currently being considered for discharge. Sergeant First Class Martland served in the same battalion I did in 3rd Battalion, 1st Special Forces Group. He did multiple tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the reason why he is going to be discharged at this point was because 4 years ago in Afghanistan, a small boy came up to him and pleaded to him for help, along with his mother. This small boy had been tied to a post and brutalized repeatedly for days by an Afghan police officer. And so Sergeant First Class Martland approached this individual with his commanding officer, along with the child and the mother. They laughed off the accusation. They laughed at him. They laughed at this child that had been, again, tied to a post and brutally raped for days. So Sergeant First Class Martland, upon seeing this reaction for the officer, proceeded to punish him for it. He beat him. He beat him, and that in the eyes of the current powers that be within the United States military and the administration is reason for him to be drummed out of the military. Ladies and gentlemen, the motto of U.S. Army Special Forces Green Berets is De Oppresso Liber, to free the oppressed, regardless of where they come from, regardless of their nationality, their religious convictions. It's to free the oppressed. And you need to understand something about the way Green Berets operate. At 2 combat tours in Iraq, I spent more time with the indigenous population than I did with Americans. We build relationships. We build trust. It gets to a point where you're not just over there fighting for our Constitution and fighting for our citizens. You're fighting for the people in that neighborhood that you have built this relationship with. They are your family as well. And I will tell you, as many of the people in this room who are combat veterans can probably attest, and many people in law enforcement as well, you do not truly appreciate evil when you look at it. You appreciate what it is when it looks back. And the question that every service member has to come into contact with when that episode happens is, what are you going to do about it? And Sergeant First Class Martland confronted evil. He punished it. He demonstrated to evil, he demonstrated to that boy and his mother that someone was going to be willing to stand up for them. Somebody was going to be willing to face the consequences that could have arisen from this and defend this boy when nobody else would. And our response now as a country and a military is going to be to drum him out? Maybe there are some that feel that what he did was excessive. I personally do not. But I will tell you this, we should be very, very careful at the message that we send to the men and women that we expect to go overseas and put their bodies, themselves, in harm's way, to stand in between the innocent and those who would exploit and destroy them. Because when you have signified to them that you will not have their back as soon as it becomes politically inconvenient, that as soon as it may look bad in the press, you're going to abandon them, don't expect a military that is going to continue to go over there and put everything on the line, give up all of their tomorrows, miss anniversaries, birthdays, Christmases, Thanksgiving, away from their families, from their women, from their wives, from their children, from their husbands. He is owed our loyalty. He demonstrated it to us year after year. And quite frankly, I think it demonstrates something to be proud of when a small child in a foreign country that doesn't speak the same language, that barely knows this person, is willing to come up to them and sees that flag on his shoulder as a symbol of someone that he can go to for protection. And now we've just told not only the people that perpetrated this atrocity against this small boy, we've told the small boy too, don't count on it, because we'll punish them if they do so. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to be defended by a military that when they are confronted with evil like that, their response is not fear, it's not equivocation, it is to confront it with violence if necessary. I think Sergeant First Class Martland deserves our support. He is currently right now undergoing his second appeal. As far as any influence that you have with congressional delegations within the Department of the Army, I would encourage you to please stand by this man. He has stood by us, and he has stood by the people of Afghanistan. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.